Hey there, and happy Monday. Before I begin this video, I would like to thank you for your continued support on all my videos and reviews. Most of you don't know that all my videos that I post are unscripted, and they do take a lot of time out of my day. A 5-minute video could take up to an hour to do, and typically at the end, I need to pop a Xanax. So, they're not easy, so you gotta take it easy on me. But I'm here to talk to you about the curing process of candles. Like I said last week, I did a video on curing, and I got some feedback that was a little negative, a little choppy, and that's okay. I did take it to heart just a little bit, but I think I need to reiterate a few things today to really get technical on stuff so everyone has a better understanding. The curing process of candles happens during candle production. When you first make a candle and you use oil and wax, the curing process is the mending of that oil and wax and the solidification of the wax. Now it takes up to 2 weeks after you make a candle to let it sit and cure. But does the curing process take place after that? Does it continue to just keep on going? Well, that's up for debate. That's usually a personal thing. Some people say no, it doesn't have any effect if you let your candle sit for 3 months, 6 months, and some people will say yes, it does have an effect. This candle here, the Cozy and Fabulous, is something I would like to use as an example. If you take a look a little bit closer, let's find a really good spot. If you look here, I can almost, you see those air bubbles right there? I can almost see some of the oil settling within the candle. This can happen after the curing process. The oils can seep from the wax. It depends where you keep your candles. Sometimes condensation can form if you keep them in a garage or in a place that gets really cold and then really hot. Condensation can form. But I have these up on my shelf in a dark, cool place, and I can see that some of the oil has seeped from the wax. Now, if I let this candle sit and mature for, let's say, 2 months, I might get a better kick out of it. I know that with the marshmallow sugar from Goose Creek, if you let that sit just a little bit, you can actually get more of a kick from it, a sweeter, deeper kick. And I'm going to explain this today. How does this happen? How does this happen? Well, it all starts with essential or fragrance oil. This essential or fragrance oil from Candle Science, lavender driftwood, is really, really good. I use this for my small business. This is part of my spring collection from last year. This oil is a little bit old. And I got to mention that lavender is natural. It's an essential oil. The driftwood is also natural as well. But there's a few components inside of here that are man-made. That doesn't mean that this oil is preserved. The lavender actually will start to dissipate over time because it is natural. If you look at this Bath and Body Works candle here, it says scented candle made with natural essential oils. Now, when you think of natural, anything that's natural eventually goes bad. Those molecules, they start out really big and they start to shrink and dry out over time. Their compensation, their structure starts to break down, and that definitely affects the scent of the candle. So, when you talk about letting a candle sit for like 6 months, it depends what kind of candle you have, what kind of fragrance it is. Now, with vanilla and sugar, really, really good to let it sit for about, I would say, a month, couple months, 3 months at most. But definitely use your candles up by 6 months. Candles do have an expiration date. It's usually 12 to 18 months. You'll notice after those 12 or 18 months that you lose some of the notes, that its strength can actually dissipate a little bit. So, one of the other things talking about candles that's really important is the type of wax that it's made from. This Bath and Body Works candle here is a Soy blend. And soy wax is, I can't think of the word, but it's a little soft. It stays kind of oily, it stays kind of fluid. It doesn't really harden that well. Even after the curing process, it still takes time to harden. And about after 8 months or so, you'll notice that your candle will start to pull away from the walls of the jar, and that's because the wax is starting to shrink and harden. During this process, some of the oils can actually seep out from the top or even the sides. So it can affect your performance of your candle. So make sure that your candles, if they're like natural and soy, that you use them up first. Now, purifying candles, the wax is a little bit harder. It really locks in that oil. It has a fair distribution of oil and wax, but these candles can seep too. The Purifying ones smells really, really good. I've had this for, I would say, 3 weeks now, and from the first time that I've opened it till now, I have noticed that the scent has developed a little bit. I can smell some cinnamon notes coming through. I'm not sure if there's cinnamon in this, but it smells like clovey or cinnamon-like. Really, really good stuff here. But like I said, the curing process can take place after the candle is made. These oils can still mend with the wax over time. You just have to be careful where you're storing them, because like I said, if you store them in a cold environment, the oils can separate even more from the wax. Also, when you store them, I would recommend placing them on their side so you can have an even distribution of oil and wax, because if you do it like this and see at the bottom, a lot of the oil sinks to the bottom. Oil is heavy. This oil right here, the lavender driftwood, is a little bit lighter. But I did buy a caramel at one time, a caramel oil, and it was very thick, it was very dense. And when you make candles, it's not about how many ounces, like you can say, oh, it's 2 ounces, and so that's 4 tablespoons. No, it's by weight. It's weight in fluid ounces. And so some denser and more heavier and darker oils, they tend to sink to the bottom because they're heavier. And so when you use a wax like soy, it's very hard to blend. So if you have like, if you're making candles and you want to make, let's say, a caramel scented candle, you might want to opt for the Purifying wax. So some oils, they just don't mix very well with any type of wax. In this case, you can see that they had a little bit of an issue with mending that oil with the wax. One of the reasons could be that this oil here has a flash point of 192 degrees. Now, when you're working with Purifying wax, you have to heat the wax up to at least 165 degrees in order to melt that wax. When you're working with soy, it's usually like 145 degrees. And so when you talk about a flash point of oil, some oils have very low flash points. I remember I had frankincense. Frankincense had a very, very low temperature. It was 115 degrees, the flash point. So that means that I had to let my soy wax get down to 115 degrees before I could add the oil. And oil and wax, they typically mend around 135. They say you need to heat your wax to 135 in order to mend with the oil. Obviously, with a low flash point, you can't do that. So it's very hard. It's very hard in identifying what kind of candle you have. Unless you're making them yourself, you don't know what's in it. But I'll tell you, anything that's sweet, sugary, vanilla, that does develop and mature over time. It gets darker and deeper. But when you have lavender or driftwood, those scents, they tend to break down a little bit quicker. And like I said, any candle that you have with lavender or natural essential oils, you need to use first. It's not recommended that you let them sit to mature. So with all that jazz, I hope that everyone understood this process of curing candles at home after you purchase them. The technical term of curing, yes, there is a technical term, but you can continue to cure your candles at home after you purchase them. A better word is maturing them. So this candle right here, I probably will do a review on, probably within the next couple of weeks. I definitely want it to sit a little bit more. I have a Belgium Sweet Shop as well. That one I feel needs to sit just a little bit more. And until next time, guys, I want you to stay safe. Keep me up to date what you think about these videos. I enjoy comments. They can be constructive. They can be constructive criticism. But just keep in mind that I have gained a lot of knowledge from books, a lot of knowledge from the group. I've made candles. I've had my own small business. I only have the information that I have. Some people read articles that are completely different. I think that at the end of the day, it's about preference. A lot of you in the group have matured and cured your candles a little bit longer and have had better performance. And so if you're one of those people that have had better performance from letting your candles sit for 3 months, please comment below. Show your support, show your love, kind of back up what I'm saying a little bit, you know? There is a noticeable difference when you let your candles sit a little bit longer at home. And until next time, I want you to stay safe and keep on burning those candles.